Creating your first Amazon FBA shipment can feel like rocket science, so in this video, I'm going to make it as simple as possible for you. This is the exact process that I use in my $5 million Amazon business, so we're going to talk about what products you can even send to Amazon, the supplies you need, and then the full step-by-step process, so you can go ahead and follow along as we're going through this, and by the end of it, you'll also have a completed FBA shipment. Since you clicked, I'm going to assume what an Amazon FBA shipment is, but just in case you need some clarification, basically what we're going to be doing is boxing up all of the products that we want to send off to Amazon. And then once those products arrive at Amazon, following the specific standards that we're going to be breaking down, Amazon will check those in, ship those off to your customers for you so that you can get back to sourcing more products. And the FBA model is just a little bit more scalable than having to ship directly to each individual customer. Because for your business, you're going to be able to find tons of products like this one right here that is $30 on the brand's website, plus there's a little bit of a coupon. And then that exact same product sells on Amazon for about double what we can actually buy it for. So the obvious step one of the process is make sure you have a profitable product. If you don't already have profitable products to sell, you can go ahead and check out any of the other product sourcing videos here on my channel. And on top of the obvious step of having products to ship, we're also going to need a couple supplies. The first thing you'll want is these thermal labels right here. These are going to basically sticker on the actual product that you're going to sell. I'll show you how to use all these, and like I said, we're going to be making a shipment together, but make sure you have all this before you try to create that first shipment, because using these thermal labels, we're going to be able to cover the UPC barcode on the item, and that's basically how Amazon figures out whose is whose inventory when it's actually at the Amazon fulfillment center. The next thing you'll need is 4x6 labels that look just like this. You can actually get these for free with your UPS account as well. So if you don't already have a UPS account, go ahead and set that up. If you don't want to bother with it, they're super cheap, but you do need 4x6 labels. Another one that should be fairly obvious, but I typically buy my boxes from Walmart, Home Depot, or Lowe's. They just tend to be the cheapest. Once you're really scaling up your operation, you can reach out to local box suppliers. Those tend to be the cheapest because there's less shipping costs involved. But specifically, I've used a ton of these medium-sized boxes and these blue boxes right here. On top of all that, you'll also want tape and a tape gun to cover up these right there. That should run you another 10 to 20 bucks. And then this one's not required. I would highly recommend it if you have startup budget for your Amazon business. It is a Rollo label printer. You can also use something like a Zebra printer or a Dymo printer. All of these are just laser printers that make it a little bit faster to print out the labels that we're going to be looking at today. If you don't want to do this for the first couple shipments that you're creating, that's totally fine. Just keep in mind it will be slower. And in that case, what you'll need is these 30 up labels right here. Looks like that right there, where there's 30 labels per sheet, and we can print our labels to here for the start. But since you can have labels get mixed up and it's just a little bit slower, I would recommend getting that laser printer. And another one of those, if you don't get the laser printer, you'll want these half sheet labels that look like this. These can feed through your existing printer, but these right here will work nicely with the ones you can get on Amazon or free from UPS. So now you have a product and all the supplies set up. Let's go ahead and actually start creating the shipment together, right? So this is where the tool called Boxem is going to come into play. It's much faster to create FBA shipments through Boxem. You can try it for completely free down below. So go ahead and follow along. If you're making a shipment, you can follow along with your Boxem account. And let's go ahead and walk through the quick step-by-step process, right? So I'm also going to point out why it's important to use Boxem right here on the settings page. There's lots of things that you can't get using the default Seller Central flow and especially any other tool. So let's go ahead and walk through. So we want to name our shipment. We want to select that this is an FBA shipment. If you're doing any FBM, you can also do that through Boxem. Today, we're just talking about FBA. You'd go ahead and select your ship from address, select your shipping method, whether you're doing small parcel, that's just basically a couple boxes at a time, or LTL, which is where you're putting it all on a pallet, wrapping it all up. Today, we're just going to be focusing on small parcel. For my packing type, I'm personally going to be selecting case pack today. Basically, what this says is, hey, Amazon, I already have X units of this particular product already all together. I don't want you to split it up into a bunch of different warehouses, so it's all already together in a case. If you only have a couple units of the things you're shipping, or you don't mind it being split across the country, you will see slightly faster sales if you let Amazon ship it all over the country for you versus all to one destination, just because you'll be eligible for prime shipping in more states that way. For labeling preference, it's always a good idea just to label these items yourself. 55 cents a unit per every item you send in gets a little bit steep. If you're super crunched on time, you can pay Amazon to label these for you, but that's why we want to use good tools and the right supplies that make all this easier, right? In box contents, this is one of the bigger reasons why you want to use Boxem, is Boxem allows us to use 2D barcodes, which Amazon themselves even recommends that Amazon sellers should be using, but there's no way for you to create these 2D barcodes through Amazon Seller Central. And basically what they are is they're just this little barcode at the bottom of your FBA label. We'll be creating this together here in a second, but when they scan this label at the bottom, it helps the Amazon fulfillment center workers see what's in the box box a little bit easier, see more information about your box. And for my personal Amazon business, I've seen sales on my items about 5 days faster using Boxem 2D barcodes compared to not using it. So that's an obvious reason why you want to make money faster. You beat out a lot of competition using 2D barcodes. And then I always like to print my FBA box labels as we go through the process here. I like turning that one on. I'd also suggest you autofill the list price. So what this is going to do is it's going to say, hey, right now the buy box price is at $30. Set my price at $40. And then whenever your item actually checks in, just in case that item's price bumps up to 35 bucks or so, you wouldn't want it to check in at $30. You immediately make the sales and you lose out on, $5 worth of margin that you could have created. I'm also going to be enabling the auto print FN SKU. So this is just one of those quick time savers where whenever we're adding this product to the shipment, it's going to automatically print out the labels onto a little roll like this. And then that just saves me some time versus having to click a bunch of extra buttons to get things to print out basically. I also want to store all of this information about the items that I'm going to be selling. So now let's go ahead and dive in, and I'm going to go ahead and create the shipment down here in the bottom right. So like I said, I'm going to create this shipment here with you guys today. I've got 2 example products that I'm going to go ahead and package all together. Whether you have 1 product you're sending in or 100 products that you're sending in today, basically the exact same process, but I'm just going to show you with 2 different products so you can see how it works when you have multiple products in a shipment. Step 1 of the process, we need to tell Amazon what we're actually shipping in, what's going to be in our boxes. A lot of time you're going to end up using the ASIN on a product like this, which is basically like Amazon's specific identifier for a product. And you can just paste that into the search bar there. For this product that I'm going to start listing with you guys here, I'm going to go ahead and use the UPC barcode. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste that there. I'm going to say, hey, this is a new SKU because I've never listed these on my Amazon account before. So up here in the top bar, I'm going to go ahead and set my price. Since there's no buy box right now, I'm just going to go ahead and manually select one of the higher prices that I see. Let's say we bought it for $10. And just for the example today, I'm only going to ship 1 of these. I've got 1 in my case there. I'm going to use multiple of the other item that we're looking at. I'm going to just use a testing supplier. You can fill out whatever you want there. So if you're buying from different suppliers, you can have that all tracked right there. I'm going to go ahead and enter the date that I've purchased it. And as you can see, that's also automatically creating a custom SKU down here. So over time, as I need to start managing the inventory that's at Amazon, if I'm trying to remember, hey, where did I buy that product? Or hey, how much did I pay? I'm thinking about lowering my price. All that information is embedded right there. Let's go ahead and add that product. And since we selected the setting at the beginning, we can go ahead and automatically print that FN SKU label. And so down here below me, I have my Rollo printer that we were talking about fed in with the 2x1 labels that we were looking at. And it prints out an FN SKU barcode that looks just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and take this FN SKU barcode, and right here on the product where you can see the original barcode, I'm going to go ahead and take this label off. And then just so when the item actually arrives at Amazon, they don't mix it up and scan the wrong thing and get confused, it's important to make sure that we cover over the actual UPC barcode, doing it in the mirror there. Hey, I'm pretty happy with that, right? It's a little bit of a fold there, so you want to make sure it's nice and flat. But once this arrives at Amazon, scanning this barcode is how the Amazon workers are going to know whose products are who. And so let's go ahead and try to list these as well, because this will be a good example of something else, right? So what we're looking at here is the Clorox 75 count wipes. You can also search just by like title and everything like that, as you can see up here. Super quick in terms of what it pulls up. This version did have a buy box price, so it's going to automatically set that for us. Say we bought it for $1. We have 2 of these already together in a case, basically. Hey, don't separate these out. I'm going to punch in my testing supplier there again. We bought these today. And then once again, down there in the bottom, we're going to go ahead and try to add this to the batch. But as you'll notice, when I try to add this to the batch, if you're ever gated in a product where you're not allowed to sell a certain brand yet, it will warn you right here. So as you're creating shipments, if you're worried about maybe what if I send in something I'm not actually allowed to sell, that kind of thing, it will warn you right here, which by the way, it will take you directly to where you can actually get approved to sell that brand. So right here, I can request approval. In this example, it is asking me to submit an invoice. If you don't know how to get ungated, all that kind of stuff, there is a video on the channel that breaks all this down for free for you. So I wanted to show you how that works when you run into products that you're not supposed to sell yet or just have any issues at all. So just for the sake of example, let's go ahead and list another product so you can see how it works when you have multiple items going out in the same shipment. So now let's list one of those items that I know we can sell, which is actually a few copies of my friend's book about selling on Amazon. So let's go ahead and punch it in here. Let's just punch in the title of the book. You can see the product popped up right there. So let's go ahead and create a new SKU for it. Let's go ahead and say our buy cost is $8 or so. For example, I'm just going to be shipping 4 of these here. We're going to go ahead and put 4 of those in the same case. Same process as before. And now on the same thing, we're just going to go ahead and add a product and print out our labels. And like I said, if you have more products, you can just keep repeating this exact same process with whatever you have. I'm going to go ahead and press continue right here. And then this is basically going to say, hey, Amazon, this is what I want to send to you guys right now. Where do you want me to send it basically? And in this example, it's gone ahead and said, hey, we want it all sent to Bloomington, California. Here's your shipment ID. We know that you're going to be the one actually labeling these products. So once again, whenever you have this book right here that we just had, you'd cover the barcode on the back right there. Let's go ahead and confirm that shipment with Amazon right now. And so sometimes you might also get multiple different destinations. If you do, you'll be able to select between all the different destinations on the drop down box up here. But let's go ahead and start adding these into our box. And so as you're listing, if you already know the dimensions of the box you're going to put it into, so for example, if you're using like one of these Walmart boxes right here, you'd obviously already know the dimensions. That's where the bulk assign feature is going to be super helpful. Since I'm going to be combining two different items into one, I'm just going to try this box right here and I'll show you how it works. Personally, I end up using the bulk assign feature a lot when I'm shipping several of a certain item. On something like this, I'll probably just go ahead and create a box right there. I want to go ahead and assign that to box 1. We're going to go ahead and press save. Now, basically Amazon says, hey, we know that you have this product right here and we know the box that you want to put it in. Just go ahead and put it right inside the box. And then super simple. Again, we're going to do the same thing. Let's go ahead and assign. Go ahead and put them all in there and save. And so now we have all of the units in this shipment all assigned to a certain box. I get a lot of questions from new Amazon sellers on, can I actually put different things in a certain box? And in this case, yes, you can. So you can see there's that one item down in there. I'm just going to go ahead and put those other 4 books right down in there. You can see that's what it would look like. If you ever have any box that's like mostly has a lot of dead space in it, something like this, I really like getting some craft paper. It's $4 or $5 a roll at Lowe's. And then you can just fill up that box right there so that it's not like, you see how it's flapping around. And by the time it gets to Amazon, you don't want it to be all beat up. Customers get unhappy, that kind of thing. So now that we've got it all boxed up, we're going to go ahead and set the dimensions and weight on this. I figure you probably already have a tape measure laying around the house. And if you don't already have a scale, it's also a good idea to go ahead and grab a scale for shipping. I use one that looks like this right here. They're like 30 or 40 bucks. So that as you're going out and boxing this all up, use that tape measure, figure out what the dimensions are. For that box that I just put together, it's about 12 by 8 by 5. And then it's also about 6 pounds there. It is not oversized. So we're going to go ahead and unselect that. That would be if it's over 25 inches in any direction on the box. I do see some beginners do that occasionally. Make sure that the box is not over 50 pounds or over 25 inches in any direction, unless the item that you're putting in the box is longer than 25 inches. So a weird, sort of complicated rule, but hopefully that makes sense. Let's go ahead and update that right there. And then we're also going to go ahead and print out our box label right here. Once again, that's going to hook up to the Rollo printer or just like your standard printer. Through that process, if you need to, tweak it or anything, change the settings, anything like that, you'll also do that through your printer settings right here. This is also where you will use Boxem Print, which is Boxem's custom software that kind of helps figure out and talk to your label printer to figure out like how to print it out correctly, basically. And then you'll also see that the label printer right down here just printed that FBA box label for me. So now that we've got this all boxed up here, I'm going to take this FBA box label that we printed out and I'm going to go ahead and just slap it on the side of the box. The only rule when it comes to boxing this up right here is that you can't label it over the seam of the box. So for example, if you tried to label it like that, where it's like over the seam, the Amazon worker is going to cut it open and it's just going to rip the label in half, basically. You're not allowed to do that. Beyond that, there's no real rules. Just put it on the side of the box to be safe. And so once again, the more products you have here, go ahead and start creating more boxes. You could create a box right there, repeat the exact same process. Since we've actually boxed up everything that's in this shipment already, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that box right there. But if you have 500 more pounds worth of products, you'd have to create 10, 11 more boxes for that to all go in. Since we're all done here, let's go ahead and press continue. And when you're using Boxem 2D barcodes, the process of actually submitting this to Amazon is super quick. I'll leave this uncut so you can see. Otherwise, it takes upwards of 15 minutes. It's already done there though, so no worries here. I'm going to go ahead and move myself out of the way so you can see the rest, where we can go ahead and accept the shipping charges. Typically, when you're shipping to Amazon, you want to be filling up those boxes close to 50 pounds. Just because it's an example, we got 6 right here, and so it was about $1 a pound. Usually, if you can get those boxes fuller, you'll see 50 or 60 cents a pound, especially on grocery vitamin products that tend to be fairly dense. And so let's go ahead and print out our UPS labels as well. And then we'll just take that UPS label, again, slap it on the side of the box that we're shipping out. And if you have more boxes that you're repeating that for, this will also print out the UPS box labels for every single box, and then you just sticker them on there in order. So now I've got a fully boxed and labeled shipment. The last thing I will suggest that you might want to use is scheduling a pickup through UPS. I didn't know about this for way too long, and I was driving my boxes to UPS for several months before I realized that you can just schedule a pickup through the UPS website. It's usually $6 to $15 depending on how far away from a UPS you are, but it's definitely a big time saver. It keeps you from putting a bunch of heavy boxes in the car, and you can get back to the computer to find more profitable stuff. But I really appreciate you watching this far. Hopefully it was a great guide for creating your first FBA shipment. If you got this far and didn't activate your 2-week free trial of Boxem already, make sure you do that now. And then also while you're down there, if you want to drop any questions, comments, anything like that, I'm always happy to answer those, help you guys out there. And if you also wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button while you're down there and help me hit my goal of hitting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I would really appreciate that. But I really appreciate you watching this video. Hope you got a ton of value. And if you want to see me source more profitable products so you can keep filling up profit boxes, go ahead and click this video right here.